everyone, welcome to week 7. As usual, before I begin, I just need to read the disclaimer to you. If you are under 18, please tell your parents that you are doing this session. Feel free to ask questions and make comments. Stay safe online by only using your first name. Don't give out any of your contact details. And most importantly, I hope you enjoy today's session. Okay, so today I wanted to look at modulation. Modulation in music basically means to change key. So in the past, I've looked a little bit at this in the last few weeks where we've been using different groups of 1, 4, 5 chords. So if we're in the key of C, which we've mostly been looking at, C, F and G are the 1, 4, 5 chords of C major. G, hold on a minute, G, C and D are the 1, 4, 5 chords of G major, and it goes on. And I've also talked about transposing, where when you transpose a song, if it's usually mostly used with, if a band are playing a song in a certain key, but the key is too low for the singer, you can take the whole song and move it up to a different key, and then the singer can sing within their vocal register. But with key changes or modulation, this is a bit different. It's where within a piece of music, basically the key that you're playing in changes into a different key. And I've opened a whole can of worms this week getting into this, because I've gone back to a long time ago when I used to study music. I've blown the dust off some of my tutorial sheets from back in the day. And when I got into it and when I started to research on Google, I didn't realize how many types of modulation there are. A lot of those relate to classical music as well. In popular music, there's a few main types of modulation. I just want to look at 2 today because this isn't meant to be an advanced class. This is more about getting you into music, getting you into songwriting. So the first one I wanted to look at was direct modulation. And I've actually got some examples. So direct modulation often comes into like a popular, like a pop song, often in like a musical tune. And it's just towards the end, it'll be where a section, more often than not a chorus, goes up by maybe a tone. The key just basically literally jumps up. There's no sort of sneaky way about it. You've got the song bobbling along and then all of a sudden it jumps up higher. And usually the purpose of that is to add sort of heightened excitement to the tune, as a sort of grand finale to take it somewhere else. So just to give you a quick example, I'm just going to find some of these songs. The first one I found, which is a good example. I mean, there are loads. If you Google this, there are so many. I'm going to start off with a Beatles tune, Penny Lane. So if you bear with me a second. So at the end of this song, again, I've only got my phone here, so hopefully you can hear this. I'm going to get to the part that matters. Okay, so the song's plodding along. This is a verse. Here's a chorus. So by this point, this has happened a few times already. But this is still the original key. And jumps up. So that is direct modulation. It's a key change. I think it went up by a step. Some people call it stepping up modulation. So that's one example. Another example. Now I love this song. This is a really simple song. It's by an artist called Patrice Rushen. It's pretty much a 2-chord song. There's a lot of instrumental improvisation going on in it as well. I'm going to find this for you now. like a funky little kind of dance tune. It's just going between two chords. Goes on for quite a while, some lyrics coming. Okay, there's some vocals. Just then, it's just going along, same two chords. Quite happy tune. And then, at some point, there's going to be a direct key change. So she does like a load of keyboard improvisation. She's still in the same kit. Direct key change. And he really lists the song. So that's another example. This is one of the best examples ever. One of my all-time favorite artists is Stevie Wonder. And he uses key changes quite a lot in his songs. If you check out For Once in My Life, that's a lovely song. It's one of his earlier ones. There's a great key change in that. But I think the epic key change song of all time, definitely up there anyway, is Golden Lady, which I think it's off Inner Visions. And I'm going to find this song. This one, I've read somewhere, I've not sat and counted it. I think it's about 8 changes, direct changes, and it just, at the end, it just keeps stepping up higher, 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 until his voice nearly pops. So let me just find this one. This is worth listening to. Okay, here we go. So, quite a kind of jazzy tune. I'm going to just get into it. So it kind of chugs along. There's a lot of key changes within it. This is the chorus. I mean, it's just absolutely drenched with key changes. But I'm going to go to the end bit where there's just loads and loads of key changes. It's coming up now. There's going to be pretty much like, it makes me think there are some docks on the canal in Bingley where there's a locks where there's about 7 steps up the canal, and it makes me think of that. Okay, so this is the chorus. It's going to step up. First key change. Second key change. Here comes the next one. Third. Okay, so it keeps doing that for quite a while. It just keeps getting higher and higher. I'm not going to let you sit through the entirety of that, but if you go and search on YouTube for Stevie Wonder Golden Lady, the whole tune is worth a listen to. It's an amazing tune. So that is direct modulation. Other examples are Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. Another one I'm not a fan of is Bon Jovi, but Living on a Prayer has a pretty epic key change, and it jumps up by a flattened fifth, which is a tritone, which is a very strange jump in music. But it does work, in all fairness, whether you can stand Bon Jovi and his ridiculous hair or not. But anyway, yeah, so there are lots and lots of songs that use that. So I just wanted to have a little look at that. I've got my little key change song. So So if we're plodding along in the key of C, okay, so I've got C chord, that's a 1 chord, going to a 4 chord, back to C, F, C, and then G, which is a 5 chord. So we're just sort of plodding along in the key of C. Okay, and I've got some little lyrics. A key change is gonna happen in this song, very soon. A key change is gonna happen in this song, very soon. A key change has just happened in this song, in this tune. A key change has just happened in this song, in this tune. Another key change is coming in this song, very soon. Another key change has happened in this song, happened in this tune. Now that's enough of that for one moment. So what happened there? We've got C, we've just got 1, 4, 5 progression. C, which is 1, going to the 4, to the 1, to the 4, to the 1, to the 5. Okay, so that's C, F, C, F, C, G. And then what happens is I'll lift the song up by a whole tone. Often it's by a half tone in a lot of songs. It literally just moves up by a semitone. But it's going to move up to the key of D, just for the sake of staying in simple keys for now. The key of D. So the 1, 4, 5 chords, I'm playing exactly the same thing I've just played, 1, 4, 5, but this time we're doing it in the key of D. So it goes to the D, G, D, G, D, A. And then I jumped up a whole tone again, this time to the key of E. So I went to the 1, 4, 5 chords, but now in the key of E. So we've just stepped up a whole tone twice. So 1, 4, 5, if you go back through the videos, you should know E, A, and B, or B7 as I tend to play. Because the natural dominant 7 within the major scale is the 5th step. That chord, if you make that into a 7, as we've talked a bit about 7s, that's the dominant chord. Okay, not going to get too much into that right now. But we've got E, A, B. Okay, so that's something that when you're writing, you might want to utilize that. You might have written a song, you've got your verse, you've got your chorus, verse, chorus, you might put a middle 8 in there, instrumental, chorus, put it together however you like. And then suddenly you might just think, how am I going to end this? Oh, maybe I'll just like put a key change on the chorus. Be wary as well. It can often be viewed as cheesy, but it's a personal preference. And, you know, if you're doing something epic, you might want to put that key change in there. So that's a direct key change. There are other kinds I'm not going to cover today. There is another type of modulation that's quite common called pivot chord modulation. And what it is, the song goes between 2 keys, but there are chords within both keys that are the same, and you can use those to switch from one to the other. But again, that's a whole session in itself. So that's direct. Another really nice sort of, I think, a good area of modulation for you if you are starting out is relative modulation. So with this one, I'm not even going to use, at the moment, I'm just going to stick with the key of C major. If you remember, I think it was last week or one of the previous sessions, I talked about how major keys have relative minor keys. Or if you look at it the other way, if you've got your minor key, you know it will have a relative major. It's the same. And what that means is there is a minor key that uses the exact same notes as the major key. So I've been through this before. I'm going to do this again now just to really make it clear. So if I write out C major, I've got my notes here. So remember, I'm doing things in the correct order. So I'm going to give you C major first. So hopefully you can see this. I've moved the board today because I noticed last week that I was getting my light sort of reflecting. So hopefully you'll be able to see clearly. So we've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And then, of course, we'd have C in brackets. C, the next C would be the octave up. So we've got, let's have a look. What was I going to do? I'm going to give you the numbers above. So that's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then in any major key, the first chord is major, the second and third are minors. So they're D minor, E minor, F and G are major. Number 6 is minor. Number 7 is, it's a diminished, a flat 5. Okay, so we're not worried about the diminished too much at the moment. And as I say, you can also use 5 instead of 7. If you're playing through it, will give you a similar feel because the chords are almost similar. Anyway, so we know that's C major. If we count from the C, so either you could find it by going backwards 3 steps counting from the C. So 1, 2, 3, it would be C, B, A. Or you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the 6th degree of your major scale, so the 6th note in your major key, is your relative minor. Okay, so the A, down below I'm going to put A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so when we're working within the key C major, A is the 6th degree note of the scale. But if we're going to modulate into using the minor, we think of the A now being the 1, and it goes that way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the chord names will stay the same. Let me just check this. So yeah, so everything's been swapped around, but now we've got the A minor. That's the diminished as the second one, the flat 5. Let me just check this. A minor, B, C, natural. The 4th chord's a minor. 5th chord, everything just swaps around basically. That's a natural, and G is also natural. Yeah, that's it. So it's all exactly the same. You're just literally playing from a different place. So what happens is you can modulate between 2 keys, but you're only using the same 7 notes because both scales have exactly the same notes, but it does change the feel and the mood. So bear with me. There is a lot to take in, but it will all make sense shortly. So let me just get to where I was at. Relative minor, Okay, yeah. So what you can do, you can use it. If you think about, so there's C major chord. So la 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 la. The majors can sound quite happy, quite positive, and then as we know, when you get into minor, it sounds more serious. So you can use this modulation to punctuate certain moods within a song if you want. So ba da da na na, that's all minor. So I'm going to start off by playing what I've done. I've put together a little song, and it's just got 2 sections. It's Corona inspired again. And I came up with the idea. The first section is just in C major. And the idea is this is this section, the lyrics in this section of the song are about, what you could do before Corona, how everything was, I can go anywhere, I can do what I like. You could just talk about the things you used to be able to do. And then the second section slips into the minor key, and it suddenly sounds darker and more serious. And this is more about, things have changed now. We can't do that anymore. And that's kind of the idea of the song. I'll get to the lyrics in a minute. So if you think that I've done 2 sections, the first one's in C major and the second section is in A minor. But as I say, we are modulating between the keys, but we're just using everything within one set of 7 notes. Okay, so what I did, I started off with the first section. I just picked out a really obvious chord progression. Again, it's been used a lot in songs. We've got the 1, which is C. Then we jump to the 6. We spoke a bit about 6th chord last week. Again, that's the relative minor. So we've got C, A minor, F, which you can also play like that, as I've mentioned. and G, which I'm playing as a bar chord, but you can also play like that. Okay, so we've got if you've ever played around on the piano, you might recognise that as la la la, na 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 na, do 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 do. It's probably one of the only things I can actually play on the piano. Is it called Heart and Soul? I'm not sure. But it's one of those, it's a really familiar, it's just a 1-4-5 chord progression with a 6 in there as well. And those 4 chords can just go round and round. So that's another good thing when you're writing. It might be a good place to start by just getting used to putting together groups of 4 chords that just go round and round and see what you can do with them. So we've got that. 1, 6, 4, 5. And then what I did, I picked out a simple melody to go with the words, which I'll get to. And my melody is just using C, D, E, C, A, B, C, A. So it pretty much just uses notes. The first few notes of the major scale. It's a very simple, plodding along song, just to give you a clear example of how this is going to work. So this is what I've got for the first section. I can go out anywhere I want to go at any time to see my friends and hang out in their houses, watching movies on the sofa, sharing popcorn, and it's okay if I touch door handles, ride on swings and slide on slides, and share my things with all my friends. I don't want you to cough on me, but it's not the end of the world if you do. It's gross, but hey, what? No. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, so that's the first one. And then, but suddenly there's a change. So what happens in the second half, I've now picked out the A minor, E minor, but still using the F and G. But the F and G now are no longer 4 and 5 chords. They are now the 6 and 7 chords of the minor scale. So F and G there, 4 and 5. F and G in A minor are 6 and 7. Okay, and likewise, the A minor was the 6 chord before, but now it's the 1 chord. Again, this is a lot to take in, but if you write out your C major scale, and then below it, you write out your A minor, you can refer to that. You write it out just like that, put the numbers above, put the chord names, and it will make a lot more sense. It will be a little bit clearer, hopefully. So then this section, again, I've just got a simple melody. What did I do for this now? Let's see. So I've got A. Oh yeah, so it goes, there's a virus going round. Now I cannot see my friends, cannot share a bowl of popcorn, cannot laze around. Oh yeah, that bit changes. I use the minor scale like I did in the first one. Cannot share a bowl of popcorn, cannot laze around together. No more swinging on the swings, no more sliding on the slides, no more hugging, no more touching, no more coughing on each other, no. So, as you can hear, you've got 2 sections. Actually, again, as I said, stressed again, we're just using the same 7 notes put together in ways that make it major or minor. So I'm just going to try and just play through that smoothly. So I can go out anywhere I want to go at any time. See my friends and hold on a minute. I'm going to start that again. I can go out anywhere I want to go at any time to see my friends and hang out in their houses, watching movies on the sofa sharing popcorn, and it's okay if I touch your handles, ride on swings and slide on slides, and share my things with all my friends. I don't want you to cough on me, but it's not the end of the world. If you do, it's gross, but hey, what? No. So right at the end of that, I put a C, an F, and then slipped into A minor. And then we go into, there's a virus going round, now I cannot see my friends, cannot share a bowl of popcorn, cannot laze around together, no more swinging on the swings, no more sliding on the slides, no more hugging, no more touching, no more coughing on each other. I can go out anywhere I want to go at any time to see my friends and hang out in the houses watching movies on the sofa sharing popcorn, and it's okay if I touch door handles, ride on swings and slide on slides, share my things with all my friends, but I don't want you to cough on me, but it's not the end of the world. If you do, it's gross, but hey, what? No. There's a... Oh, still learning this, you see. Hold on. There's a virus going round, now I cannot see my friends, cannot share a bowl of popcorn, cannot laze around together, no more swinging on the swings, no more sliding on the slides, no more hugging, no more touching, no more coughing on each other, no. So you can use major and minor to emphasize the emotion within your lyrics. That's the way to do it. And again, there I'm using C major. You could use any other scale. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly show you some other relative major minor keys. So we've got, let's look what we got here. Go to the back page. Is it on the back page? Yes, it is. What time are we on? Oh, we're doing okay. Okay, so there you've got C major. And the relative is A minor. Okay. You go to the C and you go, the best way to think of this is to count forward 6 from C. So C, D, E, F, G, A minor. If we're in the key of G, can you see that clearly on there? I'm just going to pull that forward a little bit. There we go. So here's your G major. Okay. So the key of G has an F sharp in it. That's the only black note on the piano. So where we do, hold on, C, D, E, F, G. So that's a black note, F sharp. But other than that, the key of G major has the same notes as the key of C. They're all white notes or natural notes, as we call them. And you just have that one F sharp. So if we've got the key of G major, we go G, A, B, because after the note of G, obviously we go back to A. So G, A, B, C, D, E. So E minor is the relative key of G major. There we go. E minor, small m. There we go. G major, E minor. I'll just give you a couple more. The key of D is a key that has 2 sharps in it. It has F sharp and C sharp. So keyboard, that's your D note. We've got D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. So if I want to find out the relative key of D major with a big M. I've got to count on 6, so I'm going to go D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. So B minor is the relative key of D major. I'm going to give you one more. I'm going to give you the key of F. Now, the key of F has one flat in it, a flat note. Now, just again, I may have brushed on this in the past. You'd have probably heard of sharps and flats. If you're somebody who doesn't know a lot about music, if you've just come into it. As I say, if you look at a keyboard, all these flat notes, these are both sharps and flats, depending on the key you're in and how you look at it. If this is a C note, if we move up towards the first black note next to it, it's a C sharp. But if we're coming the other way, that's a D note. If we go that way, then it's a D flat. So it's both a C sharp and a D flat. Anyway, the key of F has one flat in it. It has a B flat. So F major, as I say, apart from that B flat, all of the notes run up as normal like they do with a C major. So we've got F, G. After G, we go back to A. F, G, A. B flat, C, D. So D minor is the relative key of F major. So you've got some keys you could mess around with there. And ultimately, any key you're working in, if you know what your major key is, you just count 6 to get your relative minor. The other way, if you're working in, so let's say you were working in A minor, if you count forward A, B, C, so 3 steps, A, B, C, you'll know that it's the relative to your minor key is C major, and that's how to work it out the other way. Okay, so what I've done today, I've posted a video already of me just, as I do most weeks, there was one week I didn't, but I usually play some chords around for you to practice writing to. So I've posted a video already of me playing not the same chord progression I've just played on that little song I played, but just, I think it was C to G, and then I change and go to A minor to E minor. So if you go into my playlist, you'll be able to find that. I've also posted another vocal video. If you're not aware of some of the other things in my playlist, I actually every week I post 2 videos. One of them is usually giving you some kind of vocal exercise if you want to improve your singing. And if you're going to be singing a lot, I mean, if you're singing anyway, you should always warm your voice up. But to do exercises as well will just help you to improve your technique. So it's worth having a look at some of those videos. As I say, I'm just giving you little tips and tacks every week. You can go into that YouTube black hole and find all kinds of things that are really helpful. So maybe just before we finish up, I thought it would be nice to just play around a little bit more with the major to minor. So again, I've got my C. I'll stick with C major for now. So again, I might want to start off writing a song actually in minor. So I'm looking, I've got I've wiped them off the board now, but I've got my relative minor chords in front of me and my major chords. So I'm going to start off with a minor one. I might start with let's see. I'm going to show you how I use a B diminished actually. I'm just going to find a way to use that. So I'm going to start off in the key of A minor. So I'm using chord number 1, that's A minor. And then I'm going to use that B diminished chord because I gave it to you a few weeks ago, that 7th chord of the major scale. It's quite a jazzy sounding one, quite a sad sounding chord, even sadder than minor. But if you go from A minor, so in the minor chord, in the minor scale, A minor is the first chord. Second chord is B minor, diminished. B diminished, or B flat 5. If you play the 7 as well, it's a B diminished. So we've got A minor, go into that nice diminished, and then go to the D minor. F, G could go to that. Let's see, I'm just going to play around with these chords to see if I can find something I like. Okay, A minor to F, to the B diminished chord, flat 5 chord, and then E minor. Okay, so that's an A minor chord progression. So I've got A minor, which is 1. Then I go to the F, which is 6. Then I'm going to go to the 2, which is that flat 5 chord. And then I'm going to 5, E minor. So I'm going to write that on the board. So we've got, oh, I'll let that board dry off a second. Okay, A minor to F. Just going to put a line in between just to show a bar of each. A minor, F, B flat 5. And then I did an E minor. For a very, very moody, dark sounding chord progression. So A minor, F, B flat 5, E minor. So if you've got access to a keyboard, I've already given you all of these chords in previous videos. You can play around a little bit and see what you can find. So there, that's just a chord change in every bar. It's quite straightforward. Just 4 chords going round and round. And then I'm going to find 4 more chords to make the second section sound a bit brighter. So then we're going to jump into the major. So maybe we'll go to C. Again, I'm just using the first chord of each key for the moment, but you don't have to, and that's where you can go away and play around a little bit. So I'm going to go to C, but this time I'm going to squeeze 2 chords into a bar to get a quicker change. So let's have C, G, F. So we've got C, 1, 2, 3. Hold on a minute. 1, 2. I think I'm playing in 6/8 here. Let me just think about my count. 1 and a 2 and a. So yeah, 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a. So if we're playing in 6/8, which is what I seem to have automatically fallen into, I spoke about that last week. It's a time signature which has a bit of a swing, and it goes 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a. So 1 and a 2 and a is a bar. So 1 and a 2 and a. So let's see. We go C, F, G, A minor, D minor, G7. That works. So then we go A minor, but we're still, even though I've gone to the A minor chord, we are still now in the key of C. A minor, D minor, G. And as I say, I'm going to make it a G7. It's your 5th chord, therefore it's that dominant chord, and it makes a nice bluesy 7 chord. So the first section goes. Hold on. So I'm changing quite quickly there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch out each of these. So the A minor is going to last for twice as long. The F is going to last for twice as long, which is, I think I was playing that before. So 1, we'll let it go on a bit longer. F. Then we go to the B flat 5, E minor. Hold on a minute, am I in the right? Yes, I'm getting confused by what's on my piece of paper. And then we go to C, G, F, A minor, D minor, G7. And then back into the other section. So you can see how you can just play around with this. See, that's the whole point of, I'm just trying to give you ideas. It's with songwriting, you just have to sit down and do it and see where it goes. But I think this relative modulation is a really nice thing to work with. And it's shone light on a lot of things I've written over the years myself, where I realise I've used it without realising that's what I'm doing. And the more you get into pulling things apart, you'll surprise yourself by some of the things you do. But equally, it's good to learn that theory, but don't let it crush your creativity. Still just, if you're somebody who's just playing an instrument, you've just started out, or you've been playing a while, you've done a bit of songwriting already, and you're coming into this, just dipping into these sessions to get some other ideas. That's just what I'm here for, really, to try and open up things to you a bit more. I'm still learning. I'm always learning, and you can always learn something new from. I'd say go through, watch as many videos as you can. You can always learn something new off somebody else. My guitar playing technique has come about from years of. Initially, when I was quite young, when I was first learning as a child, my dad had a lot of friends who played. If anyone came to the house, I would just immediately get my guitar out and pounce on them and get them to teach me something. And I've had various lessons, and you'll always learn something new. And I think you can only get better by just opening your horizons as much as you can. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there this week. I was thinking next week I might dip into pivotal modulation, which is what I mentioned earlier, where it's a little bit more subtle and you sort of change key within the song. Not a relative key like this, but we'll go to a completely different key, kind of like the direct modulation we did at the start, where the whole song just jumps up a step. I'll leave you with that. I will see you next week. Check out the videos. If you have any comments, leave them below. If you have any questions, as always, you can leave me a comment, ask me to demonstrate something. If there's anything you're not sure of, just ask and I'll help as best I can. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.